Reach over to your sink and pick up the sponge lying there. Hold on to it a minute. In 1 cubic centimeter of that sponge, a piece about the size of a pea, researchers in Germany counted as many as 54 billion bacteria. When they published it, they wrote that the only other thing they knew of with living things packed that tight was feces. That sponge wiped your counter this morning. It wiped the plate your grandchild ate off of. And it is sitting there damp right now, waiting to do the same tonight. Now, most folks hearing that say the sensible thing. Fine, I will boil mine, or run it through the machine, or put it in the microwave the way I have seen on the television. Those same researchers looked at exactly those sponges, the ones from households that cleaned them regular, and it came out backwards. The sponges being sanitized every week had a larger share of the 2 nastiest sorts living in them, not a smaller one. Kill off the easy tenants and you make room for the tough ones. So the cleaning is not saving that sponge, it is breeding it. There is no sponge in my house, there never has been one, and there are 14 more things standing in your kitchen this minute that are not in mine and never were, most of them within arm's reach of where you stand to make your coffee. This is not a list of clever tricks. Every one of the 15 is a thing you can put your hand on, and for each one, I am going to tell you what sits in its place here, what that costs, and for 14 of the 15, the government document or the laboratory paper that came along years later and agreed with the old way. The last item on the list is in your refrigerator door right now, and it is the one I would most like you to hear. My name is Gideon Riehl. I am 65 years old. I have lived in Lancaster County the whole of it, and I am talking to you from a kitchen that has not changed in any way that matters since my mother stood in it. The skillet on our range was hers, and her mother's before that. Esther, my wife, has fed 9 people out of this room 3 times a day for 41 years, and there has never been a thing in here that needed a plug. So stay with me, because 2 of these will argue with you. One is the cutting board, which nearly everybody has exactly the wrong way round. And one of the 15 has no study behind it at all, not one line of research. And I will tell you plainly which one it is when we come to it, because I would rather you trust the other 14. Before we start the walk, I owe you the honest reason these things are missing, because if I let you believe the wrong one, everything after it is a lie. Esther did not throw a non-stick pan in the trash because she read a paper about forever chemicals. She never had one to throw. 3 plain facts account for nearly the whole list. There is no electric line running to this house, so nothing that wants a plug ever came in the door. There is no money set aside every month for things you use once and put in the bin, so nothing disposable ever got a foothold. And we are not in the habit of taking a store's word for what belongs in our food. So a new thing had to prove itself against the old one, and mostly it could not be bothered to try. We did not know the chemistry. The chemistry came along later and agreed with us. That is the whole of my claim, and I will not stretch it an inch further than that. So, 1, the sponge, and what stands in its place, which is a cotton rag. Ours were shirts first, worn through at the elbow, cut up, hemmed if Esther is feeling particular about it. When a rag is done for the day, it goes into a pot of water on the range and gets boiled, and then it hangs on the line until it is bone dry and stiff enough to stand up on its own. That is the whole difference, and the boiling is the smaller half of it, because a sponge can be boiled too. What a sponge cannot do is dry. A sponge is built to hold water in thousands of little rooms, and it never truly dries out between uses. So whatever you left in it this morning has all afternoon in the warm and the wet to multiply. A flat cotton rag on a line is dry in an hour, and dry is the one thing that stops them. The rag costs nothing because it was already yours, and it was a shirt first. The sponge costs a couple of dollars a month for the rest of your life, and you are meant to throw it out every week or 2, which nobody on this earth actually does. 2, the plastic cutting board, and in its place, a block of hardwood. There are 2 things wrong with the plastic one, and it is the second that will surprise you. The first is simply that you are eating it. Researchers put a proper number on this in 2023. Chopping on a polypropylene board sheds somewhere near 50 grams of plastic in the course of a year. Call it a hen's egg worth of plastic, near 80 million particles, off your own counter and into your own supper. I am not going to tell you that is making you sick, because nobody knows yet what it does inside a body, and any man who tells you he knows is guessing at you. What I will say is that we are the first people in the history of the world to eat our own kitchen furniture, and I would sooner not. The second thing is the one everybody has backwards. The plastic board is supposed to be the sanitary one. That is the entire argument for it, that it is smooth and non-porous and can go through the dishwasher. A food safety laboratory at the University of California set wood and plastic side by side, and it went the other way. Bacteria that land on a wooden board get pulled down into the dry grain of it, and they die down there. You cannot get them back up to the surface, even if you set out to. On a plastic board, they sit in the knife cuts, and once that board is scarred up, they came through hot, soapy water alive and through a full run of the dishwasher alive. The board that looks clean is the one holding on to them. Our block gets scraped, wiped, and stood on its edge to dry, and it has been in this house longer than my youngest child. 3. The non-stick pan, and in its place, cast iron. Take that coating above about 500 degrees, and that is not exotic. That is a dry pan left on a good burner while you go answer the door. And it begins to come apart, and it puts off a fume. In a grown person, that fume brings on chills and aches and a headache some hours later, and it has a name in the medical books: polymer fume fever. In a room with a pet bird in it, the same fume kills the bird, not sickens. Kills, and quickly, which is why every parrot keeper in this country knows to carry the bird outside before anybody heats a pan. As for the chemistry, the compound called PFOA came out of American manufacture back in 2015, and the makers will tell you so themselves. What is still in the pan is PTFE, and PTFE belongs to that same family of chemicals that does not break down in the ground or in a body. Our skillet has no coating to give out. It is seasoned with fat and heat and 40 years of use, and if it ever loses that, you scrub it down and build it back in an afternoon. A cast iron skillet outlives the woman who seasoned it. Mine has outlived my mother by 19 years, and it will outlive me. 4. The plastic tub that goes into the microwave. Warm your food in plastic, and you are not only eating the cutting board anymore. A study out of Nebraska measured what comes off a container when it is heated with food sitting in it. As much as 2 billion of the smallest plastic particles and 4 million of the larger ones off a single square centimeter. A square centimeter is smaller than your thumbnail. Food goes into glass here, or into crockery, or a plain enamel dish. If there is one habit in this whole list I would have you take away, and begin tonight, it is that one, because it costs you nothing at all. You already own a plate. 5. The microwave itself. Here I have to be fair with you, because I do not have an argument against the machine. I have the absence of one. There is no current in this house. Our cooking is done on a cast iron range that burns wood through the winter, and in the summer, when no woman in her right mind lights a wood fire in July, Esther cooks on a propane range, and a great many Amish families do the same. I am not going to stand here and tell you a microwave is poison, because I would be making it up and you would be right to catch me at it. What I will say is what the machine changed. It made it possible to eat a meal that nobody cooked, alone, standing up, in 4 minutes. Our supper takes an hour, and everybody is at the table for it. That is the trade, and each household can weigh it for itself. 6. The antibacterial soap by the sink, and in its place, plain soap. This one has a date on it. On the 6th of September, 2016, the Food and Drug Administration barred 19 ingredients from consumer antibacterial washes, triclosan first among them. And their reason is worth hearing exactly as they gave it. The makers were asked for their evidence, and not one of them could show that any of it worked better than plain soap and water. Years of selling a thing on a promise, and the promise could not be demonstrated when somebody finally sat down and asked for it. We have never had anything at that sink but a bar of plain soap. It has never claimed to kill a single thing. It lifts the dirt loose and the water carries it away, and that turns out to be the whole trick, and it always was. 7. The cabinet full of spray bottles. Go and open yours and count them. The glass one, the tub one, the floor one, the wood one, the stainless one, the toilet one, and the tub of disinfecting wipes sitting on top of the lot. Under our sink, there are 4 things, and not one of them has a trigger on it: vinegar, baking soda, borax, and washing soda. That is the whole cabinet, and it does the house and the laundry both. The laundry soap that goes around the Plain communities is a grated bar of soap with a cup and a half of borax and a cup and a half of washing soda, mixed into water and left to set up overnight into a jelly. One caution, and I want it said out loud rather than written small. Borax is for washing and cleaning, never for eating or drinking, no matter what you have read somewhere. It lives up out of the children's reach, the same as bleach would. 8. The roll of paper towels, and in its place a basket of rags, the same rags, the shirts that wore through. A household that buys paper towels spends something near $200 a year on the towels alone, and once you add the napkins and the paper plates and the cups and the rest of what gets bought to be thrown away, the figures run from $400 to $700 a year. I want to be square about those numbers. They are estimates. They move about depending on whose household is being counted, and you will find people who argue over them. But take even the low end. That is a month of groceries spent every single year on paper that goes into the bin the same day it came into the house. 9. The plastic wrap. Jars here with the lids they came home with, used again and again until the glass finally breaks. The trouble with the film is that the softeners in it migrate into the food, and they migrate faster the more fat is in the dish, the warmer it is, and the longer the film sits pressed against it, which describes precisely a bowl of leftovers wrapped up warm and set in to keep overnight. That is the ordinary case, not some unusual one. I will not give you a number on this one because the honest state of it is that the amount depends on the wrap and on the food, and there is no single figure I would care to defend. A jar with a lid keeps better anyway, and it does not cost you again next month. 10. The plug-in air freshener and the aerosol can standing beside it. When the Natural Resources Defense Council tested 14 brands of them, 12 had phthalates in them, the sort of compound that meddles with hormones, and not one of the 14 labels said so. Separately, when researchers put scented household products under proper analysis, near half of them gave off at least one of 24 air pollutants that the government classifies as hazardous. Nobody is hiding any of this. It is simply that fragrance is not required to be listed ingredient by ingredient, so it is not listed. Our answer is a window that opens and a saucer of vinegar set out on the counter overnight in a room that has gone stale. The vinegar takes the smell out of the air instead of laying a second smell on top of the first. And a kitchen ought to smell of what was cooked in it. 11. The case of bottled water. Ours comes up out of the well and stands on the table in a glass pitcher. In 2024, a team working with Columbia University counted the plastic in bottled water using a method fine enough to see the smallest pieces, and they came out at somewhere near 240,000 fragments in a liter, better than 100 times more than anyone had found before, because the older methods simply could not see that far down. 9 in 10 of those were small enough to pass out of the gut and into the blood. Now the plain part, and I will say it. I have a well, and a good many of you have not, and if your tap water is genuinely bad, then bottled water is a reasonable answer to a real problem, and I am not about to tell a woman in a town with poor water to go without. But if your tap runs clean and you buy the water anyway because the bottle looks purer than the faucet does, that is the case I would ask you to sit down and look at again. For the folks who want all 15 of these written out, the item, the thing that takes its place, what it costs to make the swap, and the document behind each one so you can read it yourself instead of taking my word for it. Esther and I put it together in a guide called The Natural Home, and the link for it sits just below this video. It is there if you would rather have it in your hand than in your head. That is the only time I will mention it. And now, back to the walk. 12. The tub of margarine and the can of shortening next to it. Butter here and lard, and the lard is our own. This one has dates on it too, and the dates are worth knowing. On the 16th of June, 2015, the Food and Drug Administration took away the safe standing of partially hydrogenated oils. That is the industrial fat that made margarine and shortening what they were, and gave the makers until the 1st of January, 2021 to get it out of the food supply altogether. Sit with the arithmetic of that a moment. For the better part of my grown life, that fat was in nearly every cracker and pie crust and tub of spread in this country, and it was sold to my neighbors as the wise choice, the thing a sensible man switched to for the sake of his heart. And then a federal agency withdrew its standing as safe to eat and set a deadline for its removal. We never made the switch, and there was no foresight in that. We simply had a hog and a churn, and no reason on earth to buy a substitute for a thing we already made. I will not tell you butter is good for you. That is not my field, and I would be stepping outside what I know. I will tell you that lard in a crock in a cool cellar keeps a year, that it costs us nothing above the hog we were raising anyhow, and that in 50 years nobody has come along and revoked it. 13, and this is the one I promised you, the bouillon cubes and the gravy packets. In their place, the stock pot, bones, the ends of the onions, the tops of the carrots, covered over with water and left at the back of the range all day, then strained off into jars. And here is the honest part. I have nothing to show you on this one. No agency, no study, no number. I went looking, and I would sooner tell you there is nothing there than dress it up as something. What I have is thrift and taste. The bones were paid for when you bought the meat, and putting them in the bin is throwing out the second meal you already own. And a gravy built on a pot of real stock does not taste like a gravy built out of a foil packet, and any cook who has done both knows it inside of one spoonful. That is the entire case for it. 14 of these 15 stand on a document. This one stands on my say-so, and now you know which is which. 14. The bin under the sink with food in it. Nothing edible reaches a bin in this house. The scraps go into a bucket by the door. The bucket goes out to the chickens, and the chickens hand it back to us as eggs. Whatever the chickens will not touch goes onto the compost heap and comes back as next year's garden. Here is what the country does instead. Something between 30 and 40 out of every 100 pounds of the food supply is thrown away. And when the Environmental Protection Agency put a dollar figure on the household share of that, they came to $728 a year for one person and $2,913 for a family of 4. That is real money going out with the trash, and you paid for every bit of it at the register. You do not need chickens to fix the most of it. You need to buy less at a time and to look inside the icebox before you drive to the store, which is what our grandmothers did for the plain reason that there was no other way to do it. And 15. The eggs in your refrigerator door. Ours sit in a bowl on the counter in the middle of this kitchen through the July heat, and they have never been in a cold place in their lives. Now before I explain that, hear this part plain, because this is the one place in the whole list where I could actually do you harm. If you bought your eggs at a store, they were washed. Washed eggs must be kept cold and must stay cold, and taking a carton out of the grocery and setting it on your counter because a man on the internet said the Amish do it is how somebody gets sick. The bowl on the counter is for eggs that came straight from a hen and were never washed at all. That is not a small detail. That is the entire thing. Here is why. A hen lays an egg with a coat already on it, a thin natural layer called the bloom or the cuticle that seals the thousands of pores in the shell and keeps bacteria on the outside of them where they belong. Wash the egg and the bloom comes off with the dirt. Now, American law requires that commercial eggs be washed and sanitized, and it is that washing, and only that washing, That makes refrigeration necessary. The egg has had its own defense scrubbed off it, so the cold has to stand in for what was taken away. Go across to Europe and the regulation runs in the opposite direction. Under their rules, Class A eggs are forbidden to be washed for exactly the same reason that we do not wash ours. 2 continents, 2 laws, pointing dead opposite, both of them reasoning correctly from the same fact about the same egg. An unwashed egg with its bloom intact keeps about 2 weeks on a counter and months in a cool cellar. When one comes in dirty, Esther takes the dirt off dry with a cloth or a bit of fine sandpaper and never with water. And if an egg does get washed by accident, it goes into the cold and it gets used first. And I will grant the other side a fair point because it belongs right here. Europe does not rest the whole business on the cuticle. They also vaccinate their laying flocks against salmonella, which the United States largely does not, and that is part of why their arrangement holds together. So this is not a matter of them being right and us being wrong. It is that their eggs are unwashed and can sit out, and yours were washed and cannot. Now step back and look at the 15 all together, because the point of this was never that you should go and get a hog and a hen. Most of you cannot and should not. Count what is actually on the list: the sponge, the paper towels, the wrap, the plastic tubs, the bottled water, the 7 spray bottles, the freshener, the margarine, the packets. Every one of them is a thing you buy again and again and again, and every one of them pushed out something that was already in the house and never needed buying twice. That is the shape of the whole list: a rag, a jar, a wooden block, a cast iron pan, a bar of plain soap, 4 dry goods under the sink. There is nothing clever in any of it, and nothing especially Amish about it either. It is what your own great-grandmother had in her kitchen, and it went out of yours for one reason. There is no money in selling a woman a thing that lasts 40 years. So here is what I would have you do this week, and it is not 15 things. Throw out the sponge and put a rag in its place and hang it where the air can get at it. Stop putting anything warm into plastic, glass, and crockery, and you already own both of those. If your cutting board is scarred up, retire it out to the shed and get yourself a piece of hardwood. Open the cabinet under the sink, take out every bottle that does the same job as another bottle, and find out whether vinegar and baking soda will not do the work you have been paying for. Put a basket of cut-up shirts where the paper towel roll lives and see how many days it takes you to stop reaching for the roll. And if you keep hens, take your eggs off the cold shelf and put them in a bowl on the counter unwashed. And if you buy them at the store, leave them exactly where they are. Now I would like to hear from you. Go and stand in the middle of your own kitchen, look around it honestly, and tell me down in the comments which of the 15 you have got in there. And more to the point, which one you are not willing to give up. My guess is the microwave for the most of you, and I would not blame you a bit for it. I read the comments, all of them, and I answer the ones I am able to. And before you go, there is a room in this house I have not taken you into yet, and it is the one Esther is proudest of: the dry stores. 50 pounds of flour at a time, and the cornmeal, the beans, the sugar, and the oats, all of it kept in the same room the year round with no cold and no freezer, because we have not got one. In 41 years, there has never been a weevil in any of it. Not one. Next time I will show you where those bugs are actually coming from, and I will warn you now, they are not coming in through your window. Until then, if the only thing that changes in your house out of all 15 is that your supper stops being warmed up in plastic, then this hour was worth both our while. That is how nearly everything got better in this kitchen. One thing at a time, and then it stayed.